Welcome to the DZPD Build video, Season 3, Episode 1,
FOMO.
which I
That's right.
titled tonight, What Happened to My Build?
Speaking of builds, we're back. We're back talking about builds on some level again.
What happened to my builds? They're all gone. They're all bad. So we're in New York.
Back
Content
in New
update
York.
dropped. Yeah, content update dropped for Division or day early, Monday. But then it was really broken on Monday.
It was
You could actually play it.
Rough. Yeah, it was a little rough. You could do a couple things, but not a whole lot on Monday.
I managed to load in and out a gazillion times till I got through two of the new enemy bosses in New York on Monday. I know you got through one of them, maybe Monday.
No,
or have you done all your work since?
I've done all my work since. But Monday, I was one of the many that could not get them to talk to me at all, no matter what I did. So,
well, to be fair, it took like an hour. Like it was not like, so if you didn't put in an hour's worth of work, you didn't do it right. You know,
that's
like
true.
You gotta really want it, Negan. You gotta really want it.
I think I put 45 solid minutes in, but the next day, man, I committed to it the next day, and it finally let me do it. So.
You mean once they deployed the patch that fixed it?
Yes.
It launched in a little bit of a buggy state, but a day early, and then by Tuesday they did fix it. So all credit where credit is due.
Yeah, absolutely. And they fixed a whole bunch of stuff, apparently. The list of features and the list of issues that they had out there was just super long.
Well, like I said, it dropped in a pretty buggy state.
Yes.
Which, you know, hey, AAA studios, maybe put your content out like a AAA company, but all credit where credit is due. It was a massive update. See what I did there? It was a massive update. It was a massive update to the game, and a lot changed about the game. So, where are you at now, Negan? You're level 30.
Level 40.
You're level 40?
I hit it today during finishing up. I am actually at the final mission looking for hunting down Mr. Keener himself.
Okay. So Negan's level 40. I'm level 37 and a half ish. So getting there. So we've put in some work already, and I was running some. I've got to finish this last enemy, and I'm at Keener as well. So I'm like partway through that story. Actually, it looks like I just had the final mission with him.
3 out of 4, good to go.
3 out of 4. I got to finish that last one. I got probably a couple side missions to get myself to 40, and then I'll be ready to fight Keener as well. Hopefully, get that done tomorrow. What are your thoughts so far, Negan? Well, wait.
Nope. Wait. Okay.
Wait. So I'm Burt Reynolds. Waiting. This is Negan Killjoy. We skipped a whole bunch of steps here. I'm Burt Reynolds. This is Negan Killjoy.
Hey, nice to see everybody. Nice to see you.
I live in Chicago, and I was actually outside of Manhattan today, in Jersey, right across the shore. So I've had a 16-hour workday, so I'm tired. So forgive me for that.
Did New York look anything like we experienced in the game, or is it a little cleaner, fewer bodies around from your perspective in New Jersey?
So I wasn't in Manhattan. Yeah, the skyline looks very similar, although it's not smoldering, and it doesn't have like tarps flying out of windows and stuff. So I was right across from the financial district and lower Manhattan. So I was literally right across at the airport in Newark and looking right across. It's pretty there. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And
bridges were probably intact.
All bridges were intact. Yes, all everything. Right. So the game is fantasy. It's fantasy.
Okay.
It's not real.
All right.
Not real.
I was buying into the realness. I was like, it was reality based, but apparently I'm disappointed now. All right.
It is not reality based. What do you? We have to cover what you're drinking tonight, and we're going to add a feature in season 3, which is at the end of our stream tonight. We will actually review what we're drinking tonight. What are you drinking tonight, Negan Killjoy?
Well, I'm continuing my adventure through Iinger Brewery. So I'm drinking another beer. Like last week, I think I pronounced it. It was Urweis. I think it was the
Urweis. Yep.
This week it's Altberich Dunkel.
Oh, a Dunkel.
It's a Dunkel. Yes, it's described as deep and malty. A great soda, a great food pairing. So it's authentic Bavarian dark. So we're gonna see how this is as far as that goes. So yeah, I'm maybe next week I'll go to a beer I can pronounce assuredly, instead of slaughtering names and insulting a whole people's. So it's a nice dark. It's nice and dark. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Supper Club from Capital Brewery.
Supper Club.
So it's from Madison, Wisconsin, which is, not far from me, about an hour and a half away, and their capital, that is the capital of Wisconsin, so it's Capital Brewery. Supper clubs are a Wisconsin and Minnesota thing. If you've never been to a supper club, you should come out and go to one, because they are something. It's a restaurant, obviously, but they specialize. It's a sit-down. They're sit-down restaurants. It's not a chain or anything. There's different kinds of supper clubs. We go up sometimes to the Bigfoot Supper Club over the border in Wisconsin, and they put a relish tray out on the table, and it's comfort food. It's Midwest comfort food, right?
Okay.
So like prime rib or stroganoff, it's a lot of comfort foods type stuff, and they specialize at a supper club. They typically specialize in whiskey old fashions or brandy old fashions. They have cocktails, and it's kind of the quintessential every time I go to a supper club, I feel like Robert Goulet should be there, lounge singing, because a lot of times you have like that kind of music playing. It's always a lot of elderly folks that are there. It's a really fun time. So this beer is called Supper Club.
Throwback to the quote good old days, huh?
It is a throwback to the good old days. Now, what is Supper Club?
What is Supper Club?
Well, I don't know. I think it's maybe a lager. It could also be a cream ale. Let me see if I can find a description of it real quick. But the best part about this beer, and I don't know, I could see if you could see the label, is it literally says "not bad" on it.
Oh, so they're overselling themselves.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Here's a beer. It's not bad.
It's not terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. It's better than describing itself as drinkable.
Let me see. Yes. Let's see, Supper Club. Let's see if Beer Advocate has a... Yeah, they do. It's an American lager-style beer brewed by Capital Brewery in Middleton, Wisconsin. It's got a score of 75, which is not great from Beer Advocate. It says, here's their description of it. Okay. Nice. So not bad. Okay. But considering I've had a 16-hour day, Negan,
not bad and okay is a good thing.
It's probably okay. I mean, I don't want a heavy hitter tonight anyway. So, and my review of it right now is, yeah, it's okay. Anyway, yeah. So I titled the stream what happened to my builds. So we've been cleaning out stashes. We've been playing inventory management. As you can see, my build now consists of a couple pieces of gold, a couple pieces of purple, and a couple pieces of blue. The blue ones I've crafted. I deleted all my loadouts. My stash is down to next to nothing. And yeah, I don't have builds anymore.
Well,
so in terms of builds,
playing the minigame though this time through was pretty easy. First logging in, playing the minigame was pretty easy.
Amen to that, man. It was very easy. Delete everything.
Exactly.
And we've got a new recal station. We've got this new cool recal library where you can park really good rolls you get, but probably not worth doing until we were just discussing this. Not until you're at 40. So one of the things
that's because you noticed the stats were pretty when you did the recal library. It tells you how high they are. And it was only halfway to max when you're doing the 30s or 30s whatevers.
Yeah, so I guess pro tip for right now, I mean, no point in adding until you're at level 40. Other pro tips for this particular week is, if you're going through the leveling process right now, what I've found to be a really beneficial thing is the clan vendor, if you're in a clan, is selling a 0Fs chess piece, which has perfectly unbreakable on it, which is a great talent to have during this leveling process because the enemies are actually pretty tough. if I'm honest. And like I just built a basic damage dealing build, right? I mean, armor. I've got 2 healing talents. I've got Bloodsucker on my backpack, and I've got Perfectly Unbreakable on my chest. So you can buy that from the clan vendor at every level, because the difference between levels is substantial in terms of how much armor you get. So I'm going to show you that. I'm actually going to try and craft another. I'll craft a new holster here, and I mean it's not like a little. So yeah, I craft one of these up. Okay, so I crafted a Y'all Gear holster as a replacement for the one I have. You'll see that just the inherent armor roll on it. This is a level 37 versus a level 35. The inherent armor roll, even though the actual core attribute armor roll is lower, is 20,000 higher.
Just out of the bag, right out of the gate.
Yeah. So like that, like when you think about like how much, I mean, look how much armor I'm rocking, almost 600,000. When you think about that kind of stuff, right? Like using the most current level stuff is definitely the way to go, because otherwise you're really missing out, on getting the maximum out of your stuff. And so it's noticeable in missions if you do not have, max level for where you're at kind of stuff. That said, I'm like broke, dude. I've been rolling so many pieces that like I am pretty darn broke. Which
So
sucks.
that's really what happened to your build. You sold everything and now you're broke. Is
Well,
really what happened to your
I
build.
haven't sold everything. So if you go look at my stash, I do actually still have about 144 items in it. I still have things to sell. It's just I got tired of selling everything at a certain point. So I still have some cleaning out to do. I did keep a lot of my backpacks and chess pieces because I still have a level 30 tune in DC, which we're going to run some stuff there tomorrow night with a friend of ours who just is getting back into the game. And I didn't want to not have, that stuff. So I still have some stuff I could probably unload and will unload once I move that tune to New York.
There you go. And the nice thing with if you got the expansion and stuff like that, there's the boost. So you can start off a new character and automatically at 30 once you boost them. So
Yeah.
that's a plus. You don't have to go through. Which I mean, I think I'm starting to tune since the person we're running with. I don't think we'll have. I'm not sure if he'll have the boost or not, but just in case he doesn't have a starting tune as well.
Don't think he does. I don't think he does. So I think that we will not have that. We will not be working with his boosted tune.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so you can sell some stuff or whatever, and probably put yourself together a decent build. I'm trying to only really boost up. Like I'm only changing pieces out every 2 levels on the way up because I don't want to blow all the money.
That makes
So
sense.
that changed. One of the other things that changed build-wise, since this build-focused show is, you'll notice there's only talents now on the chest and the backpack. And then you're gone. So you're only trying to mix 3 talents. So this really simplified the game. And then you have your reds and your blues and your yellows.
Right.
And the yellows are actually in terms of a skill tier. So that's like the skill tiers make your skills more powerful. I'm not building a skill build right now, so you can see my skill tier is 0. But my, I've gone for like a pure damage builder, right? Like it's a 652. They seem to have taken the requirements off of the talents on the guns. So like if you want to run Optimist, it's not like you have to be under 5 reds or any of that stuff. That stuff all seems to be gone. So you get all this stuff together all the time. But you're pairing together your chest and your backpack, and then of course the brand sets still have their bonuses. So you can see here I'm running 2 pieces of Y'all gear for the weapon damage. I was running 2 pieces of Fenris for the reload speed, but I've got the assault rifle damage. I'm running an LMG, so I want Petrov. It's a lot of that kind of stuff, right? Like, and it's really simplified the build. So I would say this is like Destiny Plus now from a build standpoint. I don't know. How are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling okay with it. The simplification. So when you say simplified, I'm gonna throw it back to you before I. So it's working for me. I haven't looked at it too much. I've been just kind of going through, picking up pieces as I go. As you know, that's how I play the first few levels. So I just pick up, put on the latest piece, and go through. So when you
Right.
say simplified, do you mean? And you said it's Destiny Plus, which sounds like a positive reaction to it, as opposed to your early reaction. Your first reaction wasn't terribly positive. It was about a 5 out of 10, if I recall correctly. And
So
so, how are you feeling about it now?
I think I'm still a 5 out of 10. Um, but
Okay.
I think where I'm at with it is right. Like, it does take a little. I don't think we'll have a lot of stuff for build shows as much. I don't. That's okay though. I was recognizing in this. I was reading an article by Paul Tossi about his feedback on it, and he's like, it wasn't what he hoped. This expansion wasn't what he hoped, but he's having
Mm-hmm.
fun. Um, I do think that it allows you to focus a little bit more on, at least for someone like myself who's like really obsessive about builds. Like, I don't know that the builds will be all that different. Like, there won't be as much diversity in them, right? With only 3 pieces to tune around, and the gun talents. I don't know that they really interact much with the chest and backpack talents. I mean, people keep being like, "Well, but you have 3 things to tune, your gun." Most of the gun talents just are surrounding either damage or reload speed or armor, right? I mean, they're just minor enhancements to any one of those things. Here, obviously, I've put together my attempt at being a face tanking build. Bloodsucker
Right.
plus perfectly unbreakable. It's a face tanking build because I'm leveling up and that's fun. I'd rather face tank right now. That's kind of my jam at the moment. Maybe in the skill builds, there'll be some builds to come up with. I think as a damage dealer or a tank, like, this is probably about as good of a tank build as you're going to get, right? I've got huge armor mixed with just enough damage to not be like shooting marshmallows.
Right.
And
Right. Marshmallows, still no fun. No matter what the
mm-mm.
expansion says, shooting marshmallows, no fun.
Previously, I had a go for broke damage dealing build where I was using spike and vigilance. That was fun, but I was squishy as all get out, right? Damage dealer, so in a group that works. But I mean, how many variations are you gonna come up with? I've looked at all these different talents, right? They're not. I mean, if you want to be pure damage dealer, you're gonna go for mostly reds, and you're gonna go for talents like spike and you know vigilance or perfect vigilance or whatever. And you're gonna pick all the brand sets that have weapon damage, right? I mean, it's pretty simple. Um, if you're gonna do tank, you're gonna do this sort of thing. You're gonna have Badger Tough, you're gonna have Unbreakable Bloodsucker. If you're gonna go skill build, um, there's some brand sets that are gonna make a lot of sense for that. Maybe it's this guy. No, it's not this guy. But there are there's new brand sets, and some of them make a lot of sense for skill build. There's even some that make a lot of sense for healer. And you're gonna go a lot of yellows instead of blues and reds. And basically, where I think they've landed is you can basically be. It's sort of like you can have any 2 of the above. You can have it good, you can have it fast, or you can have it cheap. You can only pick 2. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like that, right? Like, you can either have damage, you can either have skill damage, or you can have armor. You can only pick 2. That's sort of the build model here, right? Like, you can be a little tanky and deal some damage. You can deal a lot of damage and be a little tanky. You can't have any 2 of these things fully, and you certainly cannot have all 3 like you used to. On that side, I'm pleased. This makes you make a trade, and I think that's right. I think it'll force people to play role on their teams, and I like that. So on that front, I'm happy.
And and playing the roles on their teams, and we touched on this before, and I haven't gone through all the talents on the chest and backpack and stuff like that, but they have also said that the talents also do the same thing. That when you have a certain talent that's like a leadership, where if you're doing things like cover to cover, it helps your whole team. So there are talents that play into the how you want to play the role. Do you want to be a team player? Do you want to be a solo, or do you want to be a lone wolf within your team type of thing? So it does sound like the builds are at least synergizing to some extent with some of the talents that they're talking about as well.
Yes, I would
that's
argue
a good
that's
thing.
true.
So
Yeah,
at least there's some synergy there. They're thinking that out a little bit.
They are, and I'm happy about that. Now, I will say this: like they simplify the mods too much, and they're very underpowered. So as I'm sitting here like selling off some mods, right? Like if you look at this, like, man, it's so basic now. You've basically got headshot damage. You've got critical hit chance. You've got critical hit damage. You've got these repair skills, skill duration, but the additions are very minor. So I don't know how meaningful these are going to end up being. I suppose if you had a ton, maybe. But yeah, I mean it's pretty basic.
Well,
And the same goes for these.
Kind of goes back
like they're
into
pretty
the whole
weak.
decide what you need to do and what you're going to run. So the same thing with the mods. Not going to be game breaking, but if you want to be a super skill build, you're going to put a bunch of skill mods in there.
Absolutely.
And you're not going to have
Yep.
you're not going to have the weapon damage. Like that's how you kind of played with it before. You were able to get the weapon damage from some of the mods. Be a skill build and do that.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously everything reload, right? Or re-rolled. So like some of the stuff's just totally different than it used to be. It's cool. I mean, it's cool. I think it's pretty simplified, and I think it's pretty basic. And so we'll see, man. But here's the thing, and this is I am going to say this. Anything I say tonight about where I'm at in the game, I recognize I'm still in the leveling up process. And so I'm not ready to give it any kind of final, review because
right.
I don't know. I'm not sure. When we
Endgame is always different than leveling up.
When we get to endgame, which you're very close to, then I think I could make a real actual review. But today I can't tell you. I can tell you that playing through and leveling up is a ton of fun. And it's been challenging. Thoughts on the new levels and bosses? I mean, I've been enjoying the new levels.
Yes, I've actually been enjoying it a lot. I know some people have, ripped through it pretty fast and were like, it's not terribly challenging, but I found it challenging enough. It's been just the right amount of challenge. So it's not, you're not being punished, but you're also not super godlike anymore, which a couple missions in, I'm like, oh, my gold pieces aren't doing it anymore. So I'm okay. Because they were significant. Going from 31 to 32 and stuff like that is pretty significant. So if you think you're going to run around with your gold for very long, it doesn't happen.
I mean, again, to illustrate this, right? Like, if I were to buy this LMG, which is a couple levels higher than the one I used to have, now I'm using a different LMG that I picked up off the ground because I just don't want to spend the money on it. But this is 10,000 more than the one I'd be replacing, which was a level 35, damage wise.
Absolutely.
We're talking huge jumps between levels. And again, I have a backpack on right now that's I think a level 35, and if you look at that, 92,000 armor versus this Petrov that I rolled, which is a level 36, so one level, it's 76,000. I mean, you're picking up 20,000 armor per level per piece. I mean, that's huge, right?
Yep.
So the difference when you came in here with your level 30 build, and I used mine for probably the first 3 levels because I had contractor gloves that were god rolled when they re-rolled. And the contractor gloves have armor damage on them now. That's one of their special talents, which was pretty sweet. They were strong, but I was a glass cannon and a half, man. I mean, bad guy looked in my direction. I was laying on the ground, and I felt like horchata, and so I was like, I got to stop with this. I got to ditch these
Right.
pieces, right?
Yeah.
So that was how it
Yeah.
was.
And are doing a good job as you level up, that the bad guys you're facing are again, it's just hard enough where you don't feel like a god, but it's not altogether punishing in story mode and leveling up and stuff. I haven't done any of the missions. I haven't rerun any of them on challenging or anything like that yet, so I can't
No.
speak to what kind of punishment those are. This is just strictly story mode. This is just going through the story and getting through the missions and getting to Keener. That's all I've been doing.
The boss
So
mechanics are cool, though.
absolutely, yes.
I feel like
yes.
the new boss mechanics are really cool. So once you start this game up, if you haven't bought the expansion, or if you're like some of our friends who are just getting into it, once you come to New York, you can't go back to DC until you're done here. I don't know about that decision. I have mixed feelings about that decision, and I'll tell you why. It's a very superfluous reason, but so I had a second tune, and last week I used my level boost on him. That's the guy that I still left in DC. And with that guy, I bought the share blueprints, there's all those things you can share. You have to buy them, right? In the boo,
Right.
in DC. But I did not remember to buy them on this tune. So the share back thing is non-existent. And I had unlocked a few things on that new tune for my gunner class and stuff that are not unlocked on this guy. And I'd rather be working on leveling up my gunner class over here, but I can't
That's
bring
true.
over the work I've already done because I didn't buy that. And I'm like, man, that bench doesn't exist here in DC or
It
in
does
New
not.
York. And so I'm like, I can't buy it until I can get back. You know what I mean? Like, and that sucks because I could be leveling up another subclass, but I can't because I've already done half the work on the other tune, and I'd only be just repeating that same work on this tune. So like some of that stuff's a little annoying. Like either they needed to fully replicate what you had access to in DC, or I wish they would let you at least fast travel back to the Boo in DC so that you had access to that other stuff. But
Yeah.
minor complaint. I'm probably like the only person who just started a second tune last week.
It's
And
possible. No, that's
it's
not
possible.
the only one.
Yeah, but it's beautiful here. I will say that. I mean, I will legitimately say that it is gorgeous in New York. And we talked last week a little bit about how we were looking forward to the vertical scale of the game. And they use that vertical scale a lot in these missions, which, I mean, there's a lot of climbing up several staircases and levels, and things here feel a lot more puzzle-like, which I was pretty pumped about. Like, going to get shade tech cases can be a half-hour puzzle by itself to figure out how to get up to where the shade tech case is, because it's up pretty high. I like that.
Yeah, no, that's fun too. I enjoy those a lot.
And again, as you were mentioning last week, that claustrophobic feel, right? Like, I mean, pretty cool. I'm pretty pumped about it.
And to your point last week, the fact that DC felt more war torn and New York felt at the time when we were in there for the snow and stuff, it felt more virus torn.
Right there,
Back
man.
back New
Yellow
York, it's
bags.
yellow
Yep.
bags. You got the body bags here
Body
and there.
bags. You got all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel good about it. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, no, I think they did another good job bringing us back. And it's not. I don't think it's all nostalgia. I think we enjoyed New York the first time through, but it's not all nostalgia. They did another good job with it. Another good look with it. Like the tower.
They
over
did
there,
do a good
that's-
job with it.
Golden
I'm
Tower.
pretty pumped about it, and I from that end of things, I have to say, good job. Wow, enemy level 40. Oh, because you're in here with me.
Yeah, it scales up a bit, don't it?
Yeah, well, whatever. Yeah, so we'll end up running this, I think, probably right after this or something. But we have about 2-3 minutes left here, so we have to do our beer reviews.
All right.
What are you thinking? on your.
I'm liking it. Like I said, it's more of an amber than a dark. It's kind of an amber. So
Okay.
I expected it, since it's a dunkel, I expected it more to be more bitter, more IPA-ish, I guess.
Okay.
And I'm not
Sure.
generally a fan of that, but it is a little bitter, but not in a bad way. It's actually pretty good. It's definitely drinkable. I'll definitely get it again and enjoy it again. I'm going to learn. Like I said, I don't think I slaughtered the name too badly, but I'm going to learn the name of it. So when I ask for it, people aren't going to look at me like I'm mentally challenged.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. So no, it's good. I would give it probably six out of 10 because it is a little bitter. Maybe around 6 out of 10. Give it a solid
Sure.
B.
Solid B. 6 out of 10 is a D, by the way. Just FYI. 60%. That's a D.
Percent. All right. Well, it's 77, 8 out of 10. Let's give it a my
C plus.
It's on a
B
curve.
minus.
It's on a curve.
It was great on a curve. Oh, what's your curve?
Well, it's the first one, so I'm calling it a B out of the gate. So
Okay.
yes, 6 out of 10. Fucked up B. How about that?
Okay. I'll give it that. That's cool.
What about yours? Where'd yours come in?
You know, it's not bad, Negan. It's okay.
Well, so they got the tagline. They got the tagline right for you.
As advertised. No, you know what? It tastes like a really high quality Pabst Blue Ribbon, which I'm okay with tonight. I actually am, because I don't want to have too much alcohol in my beer, and I don't want anything I have to think too hard about. So it was like, this was actually the perfect choice for tonight. I have had this before. I was trying to have all new beers every time, but like, I've had this before, but it's been years since I've had it, and I'm pleasantly pleased with it. There is a new trend, if you don't know. I mean, the trendiest of beer snob hipsters are all about the like American lagers again, you know, and like moving away from all the very heavily flavored, This is an OG in that category. It's been around a while, you know, and so I like it. I am gonna try. We'll see what I can do. I want to try and get a hold of Montucky Cold Snack, which is a beer I got to have while I was down in Nashville, but I have not found a way to get it here. But it's very much in the same vein, right? Like, it's like, you know, kind of the American lager. I'm pleased. I'm going to give it a solid C, because it's okay and it's not bad. But I'm actually happy with that tonight.
There you go. And you're right. I have noticed with going out and about and all the little craft or the microbrews or the brew houses and stuff we go to on the weekends, that lagers are making a comeback. That you're starting to see a few more of those as opposed to just all IPAs. IPAs are still everywhere, but
Yep.
definitely lagers, and there's definitely variety starting to get out there, and which is nice for me because I'm not an IPA guy, like I said. So it's nice to see the varieties that are getting out there now.
As you know, I'm a stout guy, and so this is like everywhere, as far away from that as possible. But
it really is. It really is. Like, get any further.
The polar other end of the spectrum. But on a night when you've not eaten well all day, when you've worked for 16 hours, a good, refreshing, low-quality American lager is it's delightful.
Now, are you drinking like you should every night? Are you drinking it out of the bottle, or are you drinking it out of a glass? Yep, you're a little bit of savage.
No. No, man, you drink American lagers out of the bottle or out of the can. You open them with
America.
Your teeth. It's America, man.
That's right. Exactly. Yep, exactly
dude.
Right.
Like, this is, after I'm done with it, I'm gonna smash it on the table next to me. This is America, man. This is how we do this.
Perfect.
That's how we do.
Perfect.
So yeah. With that pronouncement, whatever you want to call it, we're going to sign off for this week. By next week, we should have a little bit of a read on Endgame. So, you know, tune back in next week, and we'll talk about, you know, what does level 40 and beyond look like? What does Endgame look like? How do you acquire gear? What do builds look like? Maybe we'll have gotten some exotics.
Yeah, they do have some cool exotics.
We'll have more to talk about.
It'd be fun to talk about those too.
Yeah. So with that, I will say see ya, and Negan will say
see ya.